Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day, it will brighten all the way. If you keep on the sunny side of life.
He fills my life with laughter, ha ha ha, ha ha. He fills my heart with laughter, ha ha ha, ha ha. He fills my heart with laughter, ha ha ha, ha ha. The joy of the Lord is my strength. He gives me living water, so I thirst no more. He gives me living water, so I thirst no more. He gives me living water, so I thirst no more. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Now, that issue of joy, of happiness, I want to talk to you tonight and then on the weekend about this idea of happiness. And it seems like a lot of what's going on these days is people are actually training for unhappiness. In many ways, we're all kind of trained that way. I want you to just take a moment and remember the last time that you were truly, genuinely happy. I mean, you weren't stressed. You weren't fearful. You were just genuinely happy, content. As a matter of fact, I do want to just probably need to take a moment to define that. Now, you remember that. Think about that after I explain. There is the happiness of thrill, like you have a big accomplishment, or you win something, or you get approval, or you accomplish something. There's that. But there is, the Bible is talking about the happiness that comes with contentment, the joy of life. How many people do you know who are genuinely happy? They might say, well, I'm trying to be happy, or I've been told this is the way to get happy, or I'm pursuing happiness. But how many do you really know? And maybe in your own life, are you really happy? The happiness of the thrill is conditional. It comes and goes. As a matter of fact, it's pretty short-lived. It oftentimes comes where you gain the person, or you gain the prize, or you gain the accomplishment or the promotion or whatever. But then comes the thrill is quickly eclipsed by the fear of it being ripped away from your hands. That person may be not staying, or sometimes we immediately begin to become jealous of anything that might interfere with that, or compete with that, or angry at anything that threatens the thing that we have attached our happiness to. The person, the position. And we're trained in this way. We don't think about it, even though it never really brings us lasting happiness. We are trained to pursue this. We focus our life. We alter our personality. We try and maintain our looks, our appearance. Our goals are all geared around the hope, the promise that, well, if you do this, then you're going to get to that point in your life where you're really going to be able to finally, genuinely be happy. If you buy this, or if you lose this weight, or you can fit into this outfit, or if you look in this particular way, or if you gain this job or this title, or you graduate and get this education, or if you get this relationship, then, when you get that car or that truck, then you can really be happy. You will be happy then. And so what we do is we are trained to strive and to strive and to strive and to strive. And even when we do see these things and we do feel the thrill and the excitement of accomplishing a goal or gaining something, it doesn't ever really seem to satisfy us for very long. It is true that in this day we have more stuff, particularly in our country, more connectivity. We're connected all the time. We can look at stuff all the time. We get more information at our fingertips that we can just say, I wonder about that. I'll look it up. We have more education, more degrees, but we have a higher level of unhappiness, depression, anxiety, hostility. Anyone that threatens my pursuit of happiness, anyone that I think might get in the way or affect my capacity to maintain or to achieve what I have set up as a condition for my ability to be happy. As a matter of fact, it's interesting to note that in the original documents of our country where it says the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, even there was a debate as to whether or not happiness ought to be property. It seems to be cooked into us that we think getting stuff and doing stuff and arriving at certain places is essential. It is a precondition to ever being able to really be happy. In the Bible, in the book of Lamentations, it's a sad book. It's about Lamentations. After God's people had forgotten him, and he warned them, don't forget me, but they did. And they sought alliances and satisfaction. He said, you have gone after broken cisterns that can hold no water. You've left the stream of bubbling, pure, sweet water, spring water, for broken cisterns that will hold no water. You went to drink out of mud puddles that you can come up with, rather than you've left me and you pursued that. They'd forgotten God and sought alliances with the fallen powers of their age. And they were caught in the middle as God's people between the powerful forces that were seeking power and to dominate their area. But there were great consequences to forgetting God and forgetting that he was the one that could satisfy the thirst of their souls. After these consequences of making these bargains, these allegiances, what happened was it brought persecution of the worst kind and destruction on every level. And Jeremiah writes in Lamentations, in the smoldering wreck of his culture, he stated the obvious. In Lamentations 3:17, he says, my soul has been rejected from peace. Wow, my soul has been rejected from peace. I have forgotten happiness. That verse struck me. It seems that in our day, maybe in your life, maybe we have forgotten. Maybe you have forgotten that peace is the precondition to happiness, not all this other stuff, whether this happens or that happens, or this person or that person, or this acquisition or that acquisition. But we are trained to not think like that. No, we'll accede to it, in theory, but in fact, we are trained to go in the wrong direction. We strive to get this or that, and then we tell ourselves, then I can be happy. When I finally get to this, then I'll be happy. Remember what he said? My soul has been rejected from peace. There's no peace. There's always striving and fighting. I have forgotten happiness. I think that we are in a time, maybe you're in a time, you and I are living in this, where people have forgotten how to be happy. We are trained and compelled to pursue the thrill-based happiness, the stuff-based happiness, the power-based happiness that, the certain amount of power for myself or for my side or whatever. But Jesus came to restore and to train us into what real happiness really comes down to. He wants us to unlearn. He was calling us to repent, to change our mind, to unlearn the way we have been trained. By unlearning this false temporary vision, it's really hard. It's hard to break out of. Our entire world lives by this kind of social Darwinistic myth that, you have to, it's a zero-sum game, that you have to step on somebody to raise yourself up, to get to that place of happiness. It fights with you, this thinking. We live not in peace, but in fear of losing even what we do have. We live in fear, many do, maybe you do, of losing your place in the line. You're in that queue for happiness. And we're afraid that if we drop out or fall behind, we fear we are doomed as losers. And to be honest, in the contemporary culture, that's exactly what happens. You're considered, you're marked, you're cornered as a failed opportunity, lost potential. Perhaps living through things like Jeremiah can shake us loose, really shake us down. But even times like that, even problems like we've been going through, we end up like addicts. We seek another drink of the fountain of upward mobility, or the fountain of more recognition or applause. It's easy to forget that Jesus came and gave us a message that was designed specifically to bring real happiness to your life. Remember what Isaiah said in Isaiah 52:7? It says, "How lovely on the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, who announces peace and brings good news of happiness, who announces salvation and says to Zion, your God reigns." Isn't that beautiful? He brings good news of happiness. We forget that that's what Jesus came to do. Even in Luke, in the early chapters of the gospel, Luke 2, it says, "But the angel said to them, 'Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy, which will be for all people,'" not just people that have this or that or the other thing, but for all people. He came to bring good news of great joy. But sadly, most of us, maybe you, never get this from religion. Oftentimes people that are drawn to religion of one variety or the other, one denomination or the other, they are promised the happiness Jesus offered. But they end up with just a new set of expectations, a new list to check off of conditions to be met. And to be really honest, after listening to people for 40 years, most people, if they're really honest, are deeply disappointed by religion. They feel like it failed them because it failed them. Maybe sometimes they even feel like, maybe you feel like Jesus failed you. But that's not because Jesus really failed you. It's because Jesus got replaced with activities, responsibilities, with more rules and benchmarks, on arbitrary benchmarks about holiness. Paul quoted that very verse in Romans chapter 11. He adapted it a little, but he said in Romans 10 verse 11, he says, "For the scripture says, whoever believes in him," speaking in Jesus, "will not be disappointed. For there is no distinction between Jew or Greek, for the same Lord is Lord over all, abounding in the riches for all who call on him. For whoever will call on the name of the Lord will be saved. How then will they call on him whom they have not believed? And how will they believe if they have not on him whom they have not heard? How will they hear without a preacher? How will they preach unless they are sent?" Just as it is written, how beautiful. He doesn't use the word. He says, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news of good things. Isn't that great? Isn't that beautiful? He says, remember what he says? How lovely on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news. This was the same message where he said it's the good news of happiness. That's what it's supposed to be. How beautiful are those feet. You know, it is true that people who are happy are beautiful. There's a beauty in that. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing how attractive it is when somebody is genuinely happy in their life. You know, this is what David alluded to when he said, restore the joy of thy salvation. Then I will teach transgressors your way and sinners will be converted. He was saying there's this amazing connection between joy, your joy, and being winning to other people. You know, you need, and I need, and we need to stop training for unhappiness and start learning and trusting Jesus's type of happiness. This week, I'm going to share a lot more on the weekend on how to stop enduring religion and start enjoying Christ in the life that you have right now, that you can learn that you have everything you need to be happy right now if you have him. I hope that you'll take a few moments and respond to this. And if you're interested in talking about this some more tomorrow night in my Zoom meeting, that's at 7:00. You can look at that. And also, many of you may want to say, "Hey, I want to know more about this. How can I really stop enduring religion and start enjoying a relationship with Christ?" I want to talk to you more about that. I can't wait to be able to tell you more. God bless you.